What is alliteration? Hi guys, this is Jen. In this video, we are looking at alliteration, which is probably one of the most important language devices in writing and literature. So I'll be breaking down the most common types of alliteration and showing you how we can make meaning from alliteration in poetry. We'll also end this video by reviewing how alliteration is different from two similar sound devices. So plenty of knowledge in store for you here, so make sure you hang on tight and watch till the end. So alliteration is when we repeat consonant sounds, i.e. any letter that isn't A, E, I, O, U, emitted from the first syllable of successive words. Now I know that's a mouthful and potentially confusing, so let's break it down into three components. Number one, alliteration is basically a kind of sound repetition. Number two, any alliterative sound comes from the first letter or syllable that's also a consonant. Again, that's any letter that isn't A, E, I, O, U. And third, alliteration must be closely placed to each other. So a good example to think about would be tongue twisters, which are often alliterative sentences. So for instance, and let's see if I can get this right, she sells seashells by the seashore is an example of sibilant S-sound alliteration, while Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers is an example of plosive P-sound alliteration. Hold on, but what's sibilant and plosive? Let's move on to the next section of the video to find out. Now first, let's clarify what makes an alliterative type. It all depends on the consonant, and specifically on whether the consonant is a short or a long sound. So short sounds are those that stopped abruptly as you smack your lips or when your tongue hits against the teeth, like B, P, F, K. Whereas long sounds are those that drag on or slowly roll off your tongue, like S, R, and L. While there are various types of alliteration, there are 5 most commonly used ones, as I'll show in the next slide. An easy way to remember the names of all these types is to think of a related consonant for that type. For example, S is an alliterative consonant for the sibilant type of alliteration, P for the plosive type, F for fricative, L for liquid, and N for nasal. You can then come up with the rest of the consonant sounds for each type by considering which letters sound similar to the representative consonant. For example, B sounds like P, F sounds like V, etc. By the way guys, if you find this video helpful so far, please do hit the thumbs up button below and also subscribe to my channel so that I can keep making these useful English Lit study videos for you down the line. I'd massively appreciate it, as always. Now in English literature, the use of alliteration goes way back to the Anglo-Saxon era, when alliterative verse, like Beowulf, was actually the predominant prosodic form. It briefly fell out of favour during Chaucer's time, but quickly experienced a comeback with the alliterative revival in the 14th century, with poems such as Piers Plowman and Sir Gawain and the Green Knight being classic examples of medieval alliterative verse. Since then, it's not really been absent from English poetry at all, and nowadays we can even find alliteration in marketing and advertising. Just think Dunkin' Donuts or Google. Now part of what makes alliteration such a great language tool is that it's actually very easy to remember, both visually and sonically. Also, having a pattern of similar sounds tends to evoke ideas of order and harmony, which appeal to readers on a visceral level. And depending on the alliterative sound or type, the effect of alliteration differs, obviously. But a general rule of thumb to remember is that the repeated sound usually mimics the explicit action or the underlying concept of the alliterative description. Now, to illustrate what I mean by that, let's read the second stanza in Robert Frost's poem, Gathering Leaves. I make a great noise of rustling all day, like rabbit and deer running away. Now you notice from the G and D sounds of great, day, and deer that there is plosive alliteration, and from the R sounds of rustling, rabbit, and running that there's also liquid alliteration. But what message do they convey about the moment captured? Perhaps the plosives are a cacophonous projection of the great noise alluded to in the environment, as well as being a mirror of the speaker's bursting energy as he rakes the leaves continuously. On the other hand, the rolling sensation we feel from reading the string of R's creates this impression of an ongoing action charged with forward momentum, which echoes both the extended duration of an all-day activity and the continual propulsion of imaginary animals running away. Now, unlike alliteration, which is the repetition of first syllable consonant sounds, assonance is all about the repetition of vowel sounds. And unlike alliteration, consonance is the repetition of consonant sounds regardless of where the syllable is placed in a word. So the first letter positioning doesn't matter for consonants. So going back to the gathering leaves stanza, an example of assonance would be the repetition of the A sound in make, great, day, and away, which could suggest a certain degree of unity in action despite the sonic chaos of raking leaves. On the other hand, an example of consonance would be the repetition of the T sound in great, rustling, and rabbit. Now notice that the T does not appear as the first syllable in any of the words, and so the consonance here perhaps adds to the richness and diversity of the natural soundscape. There you go, guys! Just a quick explanation of what alliteration means, what common types of alliteration there are, and how alliteration is different from assonance and consonance. I hope you found this video helpful, and as always, please do hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more useful English Lit study content from me down the line. Massively appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.